What's up, guys, and welcome into another edition, yet another episode of SKAP Live After Dark. Here, I, of course, am your host, SKAP. We've got Gary, the moderator, here as well on hand. And we are just talking a little hoops here tonight. Western Conference Finals, Game 1, Minnesota Timberwolves, Oklahoma City Thunder. We will kind of just chat this game up. Set it up here in the final stages of the fourth quarter. Nothing really out of the ordinary going on in this game. Nothing that shouldn't have been expected. Another clampdown defensive effort by Oklahoma City, holding right now 5.5 minutes to go in the fourth. The Timberwolves have just 81 points right now on the board. Pretty subpar shooting performance from them tonight. Under 35% from the field, under 30% from the three-point line. None of those equations for success moving forward, but that is just what this Oklahoma City Thunder team does to you. They are absolutely dominant defensively. Probably the best defensive team I've seen in decades. I would say maybe the Chicago Bulls in the late 90s, maybe. I'd say this team eclipses anything I've seen in the 2000s, better than that 04 Pistons team, better than the 08, 07, 08 Celtics team, better than anything I've seen. So they honestly, again, have not played a great game tonight, but it doesn't really matter when you have this kind of a defense and this kind of a bench. They, again, play solidly 10 guys. I mean, 4 of the 5 bench players they play tonight in double-digit minutes, led by Carson Wallace tonight, 30 minutes from him, 19 from Caruso. Just a full team effort by this Oklahoma City Thunder team. Shea does have 31 points. He has played not together all that well, especially not offensively. 10 of 27 from the field tonight. I think he was like 2 of 13 or something like that at halftime. No big deal. 15-point lead now with 4.5 minutes to go over Minnesota. And this is kind of what I was talking about pretty much in September. This is just going to be an easy championship for the Oklahoma City Thunder. The only shocker to me, really, that the Denver Nuggets somehow dragged these guys to a 7th game. Absolutely shocking. I don't envision them losing more than 1 game in either of these last 2 series now along the way. Like I said, in the aftermath of that Game 7 win, if you guys were with us on Sunday, I like the Thunder I like them to win this series in 5. I picked them in 5 before the series begun, and I will take them in 4 over whoever the hell crawls out of the Eastern Conference. So there you have it. Off to a good start for that pick. Off to a good start for the Oklahoma City Thunder. We're in an official stoppage right now. Again, 15-point advantage. And, on the Timberwolves side of things here, actually, Julius Randle's played a great game. Julius Randle has been hot throughout these playoffs. He's been playing very well for the last couple games now. And how about 26 points on 8 of 12 and 5 of 6 from the three-point line for him, 8 rebounds as well. Really nothing else popping off of the screen on the Minnesota Timberwolves side of things. Ant Edwards, very quiet night for him, 18 points on 5 of 13 shooting. They've gotten some good bench contributions, I guess, if you're looking at points only, but complete and total in terms of their shooting off the bench. Naz Reid, last year's 6th man of the year, fantastic 6th man this year, 1 of 9 for him tonight. DiVincenzo, 3 of 14 for him. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, that is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's cousin, by the way. Just 3 of 11 for him. And then Jalen Clark, 1 of 1. But abysmal shooting from the bench, pretty much abysmal shooting from everyone in this game for the Minnesota Timberwolves, not named Julius Randle. Again, they're shooting under 36% from the field in this game. But again, as I've been saying, literally all year long, that is what this Oklahoma City Thunder team will do to you. They come at you in waves. They have an incredible defense. Like I said, historical at the beginning of the year. They are beyond that, even if you ask me. The best defense I've seen in at least 25 years. And here we go. This is just the next step for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Many people will be saying, well, just one game for the Minnesota Timberwolves. No big deal, just one game. Well, the Timberwolves have had like a couple days off. I think I'm not sure exactly when that series ended. They won. They beat the Warriors in 5. I did not check that coming in. I would imagine they've had at least 5 days off here.
Yep.
They beat the Lakers in 5 in the first game, in the first series as well. So they've just been a very rested team here coming into this game, whereas the Thunder have had 1 day off after their previous series ended in 7 against the Denver Nuggets. But again, no big deal. Like the Thunder they're just so deep. They're just so excellent defensively. They go basically 7 guys deep with top 20 league-wide rated defenders. And there's just so many elements of this lineup that you have to deal with. I've been saying all year they're unbeatable, primarily because I do not believe that they can be beaten 4 times out of 7. I just don't know how anybody beats this team. Nothing I see in the expanse of next year's NBA are going to be able to compete with this, in my opinion. But
do you think the Thunder regret trading Paul George?
I don't think so, Gary. And I'm sure the Thunder don't regret getting Shea as well as the 3 or 4 first-round picks that they got netted to them in the midst of that trade as well. But it goes beyond Shea. See, and this is the thing. This is no disrespect to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's a great player. He's a top 5 player, maybe the second best player in the NBA. He has about the best deal any guy has had that I can remember in my lifetime of watching basketball. I've been watching this sport for over 30 years, not to age myself to too much of an extreme, but I've never seen such a great situation that some young players finds himself in. Again, drafted by the Clippers. He was a nice young player for the LA Clippers. But now he has the full weight of the best general manager, hell, maybe ever in NBA history. Now, Presti hasn't won anything yet to this point, but he's about to win like 4 or 5 championships now in the next like 8 or 9 years. And he's built this thing around Shea, which is, Shea's a good defender, don't get me wrong, but like he's maybe the 4th or 5th best defender on this team. So he has practically no responsibility on that side of the ball. Now, it's nice to have an elite defender like him not have to have any responsibilities because he is a great defender. He fits in the context of this overall team, but there are so many other better defenders than him in the front and back court. Realistically, this guy just has to do nothing but score. It's just crazy. And a budding NBA perennial all-star, in my estimation, in Jalen Williams, who was an all-star this year, who is roughly top 20 in every advanced metric that you can find. That's box plus minus, value over replacement, player efficiency rating, win share. You take the aggregate of those 4 primary advanced metrics, and this guy is a fringe top 20 player. And to me, he ain't even the second best player moving forward, because if Chet Holmgren is reliably healthy moving forward for the next whatever years to come, in my opinion, Chet Holmgren is the second best player on this team. So, yep. 3 perennial all-star caliber players. You've got, I think this year you had 7 top 70 net rated players. That it's just going to be more of that moving forward. Plus, not to mention the 18 first round picks or whatever the hell they have stocked away between now and 2031. Gary, I know you're a big Spurs fan. Doesn't matter. They're not winning shit. This is the team. No one's winning shit. Don't take that personally against your Spurs. They have a great young team, a great situation going for them as well. No one's winning shit over this team. Like, you're not going to beat this team 4 times out of 7. Like, they're not even at their peak right now. Like, these players are all still very young. They're 26 years old. They're all contractually locked down for several years to come. They're, like I said, the best defense I've ever seen probably in my relative lifetime. I was too young and stupid really to understand what I was seeing defensively from those late 90s Chicago Bulls. So probably for my money, this is the best defense that I've seen. And just so many good, reliable players and such a deep team. You don't lose anything when you go to the bench. And Shea, who is, yes, a great player with, again, the best deal that any player has had in my lifetime. Like, just take all the credit. He's going to win probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 MVPs to come as this team wins 65 to 70 games every year. While he just sits back, basically has the best bench in the NBA, has the best defensive construct around him. If you take him out of it, the best defensive construct in the NBA, all he's got to do is just sit back there and score his points, drop 30, and he's going to just on autopilot win 3 to 4 league MVPs. And like I said, I've been saying 3 or 4 championships. Who the hell knows how many it's going to be? This team, unbeatable. And if you're just checking in now, it is nearly a 20-point spread now. We're 2 minutes left in the fourth. We're at 105-86 right now. They just absolutely, the Thunder did tighten the screws and clamp down on Minnesota in the second half. Minnesota has scored 38 points at this point in the second half. This was a 4-point game. Actually, the Timberwolves, I think, were up 4 at halftime. But again, doesn't matter. Just like last series, we saw the Thunder kind of toying with their food, so to speak, with the Nuggets, playing down to them, keeping them in it, and then just destroying them in the second half or the fourth quarter or a full game whenever they had to. And that's just kind of what they did to Minnesota. Again, this is now a 20-point lead for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Everybody in double digits for the Thunder and the starting lineup other than Lou Dort. And you've got, I don't know, about 26, 27 points off the bench tonight from them. I mean, it is just unbelievable how good this team is. Absolutely stunning to behold. Something that I saw coming, not to brag, but something that I saw coming from miles away in the preseason. I've been calling it all year long. So here we are, just about on the cusp of this team with guys that are, I don't know, there's one guy over 26 in this top 10 rotational, from a rotational standpoint for the Thunder. That's Alex Caruso, who's only 30 years old. So like I said, Gary, and all of you joining us here on SKAP Live After Dark, pucker up, Buttercup, because this is all you're going to see for the next, half decade or more is going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder just pulverizing people throughout the playoffs. We are in the absolute midst of an undeniable dynastic hold on the NBA. Probably the best one we will have seen since, in my opinion, the 1990 Chicago Bulls. You had Tim Duncan, who was kind of just like a dynasty unto himself. He won 5 championships. I think, Gary, you would know better than me. His last one was 2012, 2013, I think, or 2013, 2014?
2014.
All right, so 2014. His first was in 1999. So
Right.
He won 5 over the span of 15 years.
He won in 3 different decades. I want to say he's the only NBA player to win in 3 different decades. 99, and then 05, 03, 07, and then 2014.
To me, though, Gary, that's less dominant, in my opinion. That's more about just sustained excellence of that one guy.
Yeah.
Which same with Kobe. Like, so Kobe won 3 straight, and then he won 2 straight. Altogether, he won 5 from 2000 through 2010. Kobe won 5. So right. 5 in 10 years. That to me is more dynastically dominant and like your
Kobe had higher highs, but he also had lower lows.
Right. But
more consistent.
Right. But what I'm saying is Kobe did it in 2 different incarnations, right? Like he had same with kind of Tim Duncan. Like he had like Robinson and like an older, like kind of supporting cast for 2. Then he kind of won. I know those guys were on 4 of them, Ginobili and Parker, but they were younger for the second one overall for Duncan. Right. Then they came into their own in the last 3. So like same with Kobe. He had Shaq obviously in the first. Then he had Gasol and a bunch of role players in his second 2, in his fourth and fifth. So like those players were the dynasties. Like those teams weren't dynastic necessarily. You had the Warriors. Okay, now we're talking like 4 and like 7 years or 4 and 8 years. I think what we're going to see out of this, I think this could be a three-peat because they're so deep. None of these players are particularly injury prone. They're so young. They're so unstoppable. They're so good defensively. I see no way like this team is losing. And like if again, Gary, look, I'm with you. I don't want to reignite the Spurs debate with you tonight. If anybody's joining us, I know if you were here before, Gary got into a very passionate defense of his young Spurs core, led by, of course, Stephon Castle, who was just named first team rookie, first team all NBA rookie or whatever in the last few days. So Gary doesn't want to trade, doesn't want to sacrifice the youth of his Spurs to get a player like Giannis. The only scenario in which I see, and it's a big if, because look, I'm not saying that I can wave a magical wand or look into a crystal ball and guarantee that Victor Wembanyama stays healthy, that De'Aaron Fox stays healthy, that Giannis Antetokounmpo stays healthy. The only scenario I see, though, where this Thunder team doesn't win at least the next 3 consecutive
Giannis goes to the Spurs.
Is if Giannis goes to the Spurs, just because that big three is just so dominant and they're so good. Those two guys, Giannis and Wemby, would be so good defensively. Like that's the only scenario. And I get it. You don't want to just win one. You want your own dynasty in like 6 or 7 years, maybe, when this Thunder is done doing it. Because you have to wait till that point because no one's beating this team.
I agree. I don't think we're going to win within the next few years. But here's the reason I don't want to. Here's the reason I don't want to go with Giannis right now is because I honestly think Wembanyama could be like a once in a lifetime type player, not just a great prospect. And I don't know. It's a risk, but if he is, and we put the right complementary pieces around him, we could be a dynasty that has not been replicated in maybe even since like the Bulls. I don't know. I'm just saying I think Wembanyama could potentially push George if he lives up to expectations, if he progresses from year to year over the next 4 or 5 years, he could be something we've never seen before.
Here's my concern for you, Gary. Chet Holmgren is at least capable of slowing Victor Wembanyama.
He's Wembanyama light. He's very good. And so should Boone on Houston.
And you've got then Hartenstein as well. So like who is also a phenomenal defensive player. So you've got those two dudes and then everything else this Thunder has available at its disposal. Like the 2 or 3 best perimeter defenders too in the world. So like, here's my concern for the Spurs. They will not beat this team in the next 5 years. So then you're risking like Wembanyama
26, 27.
And he's and look, who knows how long this guy's gonna stand up. Like he's long, he's had some foot issues coming in, like on his way in. He had this blood clot issue that deactivated him for half the year this year. So it's like I'm worried like that if you don't get some now while the getting's good, that maybe his health will become problematic in the future moving forward. But look, it's a risk that obviously that you're obviously willing to take. We'll see if the Spurs front office is. I still don't even know if they get Giannis, if they can beat this team. Like for those of you who are just joining us now, welcome into SKAP Live After Dark. The game is final now. This was a 4-point. The Timberwolves were up 4 at halftime in this game, but look, the Nuggets were up 4 at the end, or 4 or 5 at the end of Game 7. And as we see, what are those Southwest commercials? Want to get away? Life comes at you quickly. Commercials, whose ever tagline that is. Life comes at you quickly against these Oklahoma City Thunder. How's a 26-point massacre tonight sound for you if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves? The Minnesota Timberwolves, by the way, jumped out in this game 8-0 to start it. Again, they were up 4 at half, and then just a complete and total buzzsaw out of the locker room. I'm trying to do the quick math here, but
go ahead.
It was 32-18 in the third, 38-22 in the fourth. is what the Oklahoma City Thunder hit the Timberwolves with. And like, look, this would be a game that you would be expecting like, oh, maybe Minnesota could sneak up. Maybe they could get one here. I mean, the Nuggets got one in game one of the last series. They snuck up and got one. But nah, like Minnesota's been resting for whatever, 5 days, 6 days, whatever it is. And, the Thunder just concluded their 7th game on Sunday. It's Tuesday. No. What Minnesota was able to do was sneak up on them for one half and then boom, out of here, get out of here. 26-point beatdown. This is why I said in the aftermath of game 7 on Sunday, I've got the Thunder in 5 in this game, in this series. I've got them in 4 next series. And look, so everybody, is piling on. I kind of just remove myself from the media stooges and idiots on social media, those uneducated and unintelligent individuals who might be piling on the Nuggets at this point, or Nikola Jokic. Like, this is what we're looking at, though. Like, again, in my estimation, that the Thunder are going to go roughly 12-1 against everybody else in these playoffs. And then the Nuggets, who are, in fact, the worst team they're going to see in these playoffs, took 3 off of them in 7. So, like, maybe instead of crushing Jokic, we just congratulate him and the rest of the Nuggets, too, for that matter. The whole team and Adelman, the interim head coach, who hopefully won't be the interim head coach much longer. But, yes, the game is now final in Oklahoma City. Game 1, Western Conference Finals, if you're just joining us. Now, welcome into SKAP Live After Dark. I am your host, SKAP. We've got Gary, the moderator, on board as well. And
I wanted to touch up on something else too. That here's an aspect. You're talking about the scariness of OKC. Here's something you didn't even touch up on: the salary cap. SGA will get a max, yes, but all the other players, no one else is going to be trying to demand a max. All the players are complimentary. They'll all fit in the salary cap for years and years down the road. They're in the best position. That's why I didn't want to get Giannis to the Spurs, because he's going to want a max. Wembanyama's going to get a max. De'Aaron Fox is probably going to try to get a max. And then who the heck would they have left? But with OKC, they're not going to have that issue. And that,
Gary. So next year they've got everybody on this team is either under contract or on a team option. Every single player.
That's scary.
So, yeah, every single player is either contractually obligated to this team next year or on a team option. And, yeah, the oldest player in their 10-man rotation is Alex Caruso, who is 31 right now. And then you've got the next oldest is Isaiah Hartenstein, who's only 27. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is actually, they don't really even have to give him an extension. He's already on a solid contract through the end of 2027. So next year and the following year. So he makes $38 million next year, $40 million the following year. And then really the only thing they have to shore up is Chet Holmgren, who is on the cheap right now. Chet Holmgren made $10 million this year. He's only on $13 million next year. It's a team option. I would anticipate Holmgren is going to get some kind of a max out in the summer, some kind of a lofty, meaty extension for him. But yeah, this team is absolutely and stupidly loaded. People will say, they don't have like another superstar along side of Shai. And they really don't have a superstar.
Like, they don't have really good though. Chet's really good.
Exactly. Like Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren are both going to be perennial all-stars, period. Like, I think Chet Holmgren is all NBA caliber if he's healthy for a full 82. Jalen Williams might be all NBA this year, to be honest with you. He might make an all NBA third team. So those two guys are a nice 1-2 option. And then this is the deepest team like I've ever seen. So like, I mean, sure, they're not going to have a guy scoring 25 points per game. Like Shai will score 30 or whatever. And then of course they're not going to have someone at 25. Like you'll have one or like two guys at like 18 or 19, but then you're going to have, 5 guys on the bench who are all scoring 5 or 6 points, like one guy off the bench scoring like 12 or 13, and then 4 more scoring 5 or 6. And they're all really good defensively. They can all shoot. They're all long. It's a nightmare for the rest of the NBA. And it's not a super team. It was just superior team building by, to me, the GOAT general manager in Sam Presti. And
he did it a second time. He already did it in 2010, 2011. They remember that video I made in 2012? I said OKC's the next big dynasty. They're going to be the next dynasty since the Bulls. But then the refs, I don't care what anyone says, the refs helped the Heat win that finals. And after that, Harden was trying to hold out for an extra $4 million, and they traded him for Kevin Martin. And that was the beginning of the end. Then I think Durant got hurt, and they were terrible 2013. And then the next year, Westbrook got hurt, and they were terrible. I don't remember. But anyways, they had injuries after that, and their depth was gone because Harden was gone.
Well, and ultimately, look, they choked in 2016. Like they should have won. They should have beaten the 73-win Warriors. They were up 3-1. They were up 12 or something at the end of 3 at home in Game 6 to close that series. They totally choked. Kevin Durant totally choked. So this team ain't choking because they're too good. They're too big to fail.
Right.
I use that saying a lot. Too big to fail. Like Boston last year. Boston choked all the time, but they were too good last year to choke. Like this team is too good. Like they're too good defensively. The ask is too much for the other team. It doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter what the other team has. The Timberwolves are really good. Like they have a really good team. They have 2 perennial all-stars. They have a top 10 player in Ant Edwards. They have another perennial all-star or fringe perennial all-star in Julius Randle. I think he's been an all-star 3 or 4 times in his career. A great bench with last year's 6th man of the year. What's going to be a perennial tandem of defensive player or defensive all NBA defensive caliber players in Jaden McDaniels, Rudy Gobert, 4-time defensive player of the year in Rudy Gobert. Like just an excellent team. DiVincenzo, a great glue guy off the bench. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, another really solid bench option. I mean, the team is really good. Hell, the Nuggets, while not a really good team, in my opinion, have historically one of the 10 best players ever. But it's just too much to ask. The bar is too high to beat this team 4 times out of 7 because of all that they can throw at you defensively. And then just the freshness factor, like they're going to play 10 guys, substantial minutes. They're going to sweep teams or beat them in 5. So when they get the team that has the best punch against them, that team's going to be gassed out. They're going to become more gassed out throughout the series because they're going to have to limit the minutes. They're going to have to, expand the minutes of their starters while the Thunder are just going to continue to play 10 guys and lose practically nothing on their defense and even on their scoring, it seems like here. So the team is just absolutely terrifying to think about moving forward. Like last year and this year were the years to get them. They got last year. They ain't getting got now. The one chance was the Nuggets. They blew it. They had their chance. They got it to a 7th game, and it just didn't happen for them. Superior team. Vastly superior team came out. The talent differential shined through in that Game 7, and it shined through tonight. 114-88 in this first game, and just sit back and get ready for more of this to come. I think it's going to be a relatively easy series moving forward for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and it will be a harder series than they're going to get from anybody that comes out of the Eastern Conference. So. They absorbed their one big test. They overcame the one big challenge, which again is probably the worst team they're going to see all postseason in Denver. But Denver just found the way somehow to get it to 7. But that's about as good as it gets in terms of challenging this team. Moral victory for the Denver Nuggets. It's closer than anyone else is probably going to get for the next 3 or 4 years.
And you know who we can thank for all of this? The Clippers.
Yeah, the Clippers.
Thank you, Clippers. For ruining the league for the competition of the league for the next decade.
Yeah, and look, they've just been stockpiling draft assets too. So that's the thing. Like we just looked at the people they have on cap right now. Like everybody signed, everybody on this roster signed next year already. Many of them signed for the year after already. But they also have like 17 or 18. They will have control of as many as 17 or 18 first round picks in the next 6 years. So like either they're like, not only are they exponentially better than the Denver Nuggets, like significantly better than the Nuggets, like just work the Nuggets over in game 7. And really, again, I say this there were really 3 moments when the Thunder's back were truly against the wall against the Nuggets. Game 2, when they were facing an 0-2 hole going on the road. And then game 5, when they were looking at going down 3-2, going into the fourth quarter, they were trailing by 8. And then game 7, when it was win or go home. In those 9 quarters, so the 4 quarters played in game 2, the 4 quarters played in game 7, and the 1 quarter played in game 5 in the fourth, the Thunder outscored the Nuggets by 90 because in those quarters, just because they're just that much better. So they literally outscored the Nuggets by an average of 10 points per quarter in those 9 quarters. And now the Nuggets have to give like all of their picks for the next 2 years to the Thunder. I don't even know exactly why or how that is, but I was looking over which picks the Nuggets possess or control over the next 2 years. Like 3 or 4 of them go to the Oklahoma City Thunder. So talk about adding insult to injury. That team is already so much better than you. Kicked your ass all over the place in this last series. And now you have to give them like all of your draft picks for the next 2 years. So like it's just a bunch of teams owe them a bunch of things.
Right. You know what I would do? You know what I would do if I was OKC? I would start trading these draft picks to other teams for draft picks starting in like 2030, 2031, 32. Why use them now? You don't need them. You can hang on. You can trade them. And then as these guys approach 30, then you can start drafting new 20-year-olds. This could stand to be one of the greatest dynasties of all time. I mean, this, even stronger. Not saying any particular one player will match Jordan, but this can go on longer. They could be like what the Bulls were for like 2.5 decades, potentially, if they play their cards right. And that is why I'm hoping the Spurs play their cards right so that they can hopefully get. The only one who will be able to compete is if Wembanyama turns into what I think he could potentially become. And there's no guarantee for that. And even if he does, they could still very well be outmatched by OKC even in the 2030s. We don't know. But what I'm saying is the only franchise I can see to having a potential chance against OKC for like a long run are the Spurs if they build correctly. And the only way you can compete right now, potentially like you said, would be if Giannis went to the Spurs, but then that would kill the Spurs dynasty for the future. Or, and I know this is a long shot, I don't know how they could structure this, but if some other superstar like Luka or Giannis or somebody like that could go to Denver somehow, they could beat OKC.
Well, there's no doubt about that. I mean,
that's the only scenario, and those are long shots. When those
the Nuggets have no chance to make that happen. But yes, if they got some top 5-6 player to pair with Jokic, right, they could beat them. But like that's likely not going to happen. I think if Houston can get Giannis and not give up like their top 3 players, then I think Houston could at least be a competitive option. If they can keep, actually, I would say probably their top 4. They would have to try to find a way to keep their top 4 players, and that just simply probably isn't going to happen. So, I just don't know. It's just going to be a desperate couple years for every other team not named Oklahoma City. Right. And Gary, look, I think you said like no one player would match Jordan from the team, but like like Shea is just going to get all the credit for this. You know, like it doesn't matter how many like all NBA teams Chet makes or how many all-stars Williams and Holmgren make, or like how obviously absolutely loaded and stacked this team is. Like Shea is just going to get all the credit. So like I said, and he doesn't even have to, he is a magnificent defender, but it doesn't even matter. Like he's going to be given like one of the worst assignments on that side of the ball because there's better perimeter defenders than him on this team. Like 3 better perimeter defenders you can make the case for, at least 2. And he has such a big responsibility in the offense that they're not going to give him the best assignment on defense. They're just going to let him focus on offense. And I mean, what exactly, I mean, the best arrangement I've ever seen in my life for any individual player. He gets traded from the LA Clippers and into this machine that is the Oklahoma City Thunder. And Shea's a fantastic player, but you know, he's going to be like, this is going to be a top 10 all-time player based on resume. Ultimately, like he's going to win probably 3 or 4 league MVPs and probably 3 or 4 NBA championships, maybe more. So like, this is a guy that at the end of the day, like you're going to be talking about him in the upper echelon of all-time players, Gary. But let's get to a couple questions real quick. I think if you are just joining us, welcome into the SKAP Live After Dark Lounge. We are here in the aftermath of the Thunder pummeling the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Really just pummeling them in the second half. It was the Timberwolves were up 4 at halftime, but the Thunder pull it out in major and resounding fashion in the second half. Final of 114-88. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander leads the way for the Thunder with 31 points, but only 10 of 27 and 0 of 4 from the 3-point line. Meanwhile, Julius Randle, great game from him for the Timberwolves, 28 points on 9 of 13. Nobody else was there tonight. Anthony Edwards, a very quiet game, 18 points on 5 of 13 in 37 minutes. He did kind of twist his ankle near the I believe it was at the kind of the end of the first quarter, transitioning into the second quarter. He came back in, he played the whole game. It is what it is with this defense. They limit you, they come at you in waves, and they make you look bad, really bad at times. Just one of those nights tonight for the Minnesota Timberwolves. But welcome in, guys. If you are joining us here in the SKAP Live After Dark Lounge area, we have Dylan Davis in. Gary, what does Dylan have for us tonight?
OKC, most well-rounded team since the 2004 Pistons. Well, my 2014 Spurs are pretty well-rounded too, Dylan, just for the record.
Yeah, this team, though, is just so deep, I think. And they do have top-line talent, too. Like, again, you know, nobody wants to talk about the supporting cast, just give Shai Gilgeous-Alexander all the credit. But, like, Jalen Williams was just a terrific player this year throughout the season. I keep referencing these all important advanced analytics. Dylan, by the way, thank you very much for sponsoring us here in the lounge area. I keep referencing these analytics. Look, these are the things that drive pretty much the meter of pretty much all of the MVP voting since essentially the LeBron James time span began in the NBA. That's when these writers really started getting lathered up and really started pleasuring themselves to these random ass acronyms of which no one really knows what they mean. I'm talking VORP, BPM, and PER. That's value over replacement, player efficiency rating, and box plus minus. Those are like the 3 king analytics. And Nikola Jokic leads the NBA in those every year. He has for 5 consecutive years now. But number 2 this year in all of them behind Jokic was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So just to give you, look, the top 5 in BPM this year is Nikola Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic, and Victor Wembanyama. So like obviously very elite players. You can make a case the best 5 players in the NBA. And so when we're looking at BPM, I just want to drive this point home. Jalen Williams was 19th this year in BPM. I mean, top 20 league wide for this running mate of Shea, who's, not really talked about, downplayed. Jamal Murray's better than him, apparently, is what I hear all the time. Jamal Murray let's see what Jamal Murray this year was in BPM. I'm still scrolling, so stay with me. Jamal Murray it looks like 70. He was 77th in BPM. So all I heard about was how great Jamal Murray was, how Jamal Murray's better than Jalen Williams, how Jamal Murray's outplaying Jalen Williams. Jamal Murray was 77th in box plus minus this year. Jalen Williams, 19th. In value over replacement this year, Jalen Williams was 20th. And in PER this year, Jalen Williams was 26th. So I said a couple minutes ago that he was a top 20 player, and he is just that. If you look at the metrics this year, Jalen Williams is a top 20 NBA player as the running mate for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And to me, he's the third best player on that team because Chet Holmgren is better when he's healthy. Chet Holmgren's not a qualified player for any of those rankings because he missed like 50 games with a broken hip. But next year and moving forward, Chet Holmgren to me is the second best player on this team. So you've got basically 3 top 20 players in the NBA moving forward, and the best bench I've ever seen, maybe. So 10 guys that are just solidly deep. So, just to bring it back to Dylan Davis's point, I don't know that I've ever seen such a well-rounded team as this Oklahoma City Thunder team, which is why I've been saying since September. And in case you guys are not keeping track, the NBA season begins in like mid to late October. So like a full month before the season even began, I've been saying that this is the trajectory that we were headed towards with this Oklahoma City Thunder.
Right.
But thank you, Dylan. We've got Fernando Lopez in next. Fernando, welcome into SKAP Live After Dark, and thank you for sponsoring us here in the lounge. Gary, what does Fernando have?
SGA's foul baiting is gross, worse than Harden, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly does hunt the free throws. There's no doubt about that. Again, he was 10 of 27 tonight from the field, 0 of 4 from the three-point line, 11 of 14, though, from the free throw line. And it's just he's been doing it all year. Like he gets to the free throw line. Not necessarily any different from other all-time great players we've seen, though. Many all-time greats get whistles. The difference is a lot of them get whistles in the context of making basketball plays. But I think where Fernando is comparing Shai to Harden, and I don't know that I disagree with this, is that Shai goes into a lot of these situations like looking to draw free throws. Like, there's one thing when like you're trying to make a basketball play, make a basket, or make a shot, it's affected. You get a call that maybe other players might not get because you're a superstar. But then there's a foul, or there's a fair line between that and, oh, well, I don't really even have an expectation of making the shot. Like I'm literally just going into it, trying to get myself 2 free throws. I think James Harden did a lot of that in his prime. And I do think that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander does that too. But look, if it's working, do you begrudge him doing it? I mean, it's working. He keeps getting to the free throw line. He keeps getting the calls. So, I mean, why, like what impetus does he have to not do it when he's getting rewarded with the whistles? But yeah, good point, Fernando. And thank you for that. We've got Tara, and Tara Matthews is in to the lounge here to sponsor us. Thank you so much, Tara, and welcome in. Gary, what does Tara have for us tonight?
Hey, Scap, I hope you're well. What is with this chatter about SGA being so close to Kobe? I mean, he's good, but he's not that good.
Yeah, Tara, the chatter is because people are looking at, various advanced metrics that I just rattled off. But it's difficult, though, comparatively, to measure anything statistically that Shai's doing, either from a standard box standpoint or an advanced standpoint, based on the era that he plays in versus the era that Kobe Bryant played in. I'm not saying it's impossible to measure like all eras. I'm just saying the one era, and we've talked about this in the lounge before over the last week or so, and it's a pervasive theme on my channel, and it's messaging that I will continue to pump out, that there is like really one era that is markedly different than any other era in NBA history. I mean, you can say that the defense was a little bit better in other eras. You could say that the pace was a bit slower. And in some instances, the pace was more, like in the 60s. And the scoring, same deal. Like the scoring was actually more than it is right now in the 60s. It's pretty similarly paced to the 80s. It was slightly lower scoring in the 80s. The pacing was similar now than it was in the 80s. Maybe even, I think it was faster in the 80s, but the scoring was less because there were so many less three-point shots taken in the 80s versus today. So scoring is higher today, but pacing was higher in the 80s. Like most eras you can compare, Kobe's era you can't. Like Kobe's era, the 15-year span basically from when Kobe basically entered the league in 96 to when he ruptured his Achilles, that 15-ish years of prime. Like the average NBA scoring throughout that span of time is like 97 points per game, substantially less than any other era ever in NBA history. The pacing was much lower. The efficiency was much lower. The true shooting percentage league-wide was much lower. So people are just looking at all of those things from Shea that he's producing today and comparing them to Kobe's stuff in an era that is simply not comparable to the today era or any other era for that matter. And look, these conversations, Tara, get ready because they're only going to continue to ramp up because Shea is about to win his first league MVP. He's like in his 26th season right now. He's going to win 3 or 4 because this team is so good. They're going to be the number 1 seed in the NBA playoffs like every year. And he's going to, again, he has no defensive responsibilities whatsoever on this team. He just literally has to score 30 points per game, and we know he can do that. He's going to shoot 10, 11 free throws a game, as we just talked about. So what we're looking at is a guy that really just has to focus on scoring 28 to 32 points per game. That's it. He's going to win 63 to 70 games every year for the next 6, 7, 8 years. Like he's going to win 3 or 4 league MVPs. And then the team is just, as we've been talking about, unstoppable. They're unbeatable. I've been saying it for months. So those conversations are only going to get louder and louder and louder because Shea's going to have, he's going to have more impressive looking scoring averages. He's going to have many more league MVPs. As we know, Kobe Bryant, the robbery, just the absolute rig job that he was under, the thumb that he was under by the media for most of his career with only one. Like Shea's going to dwarf that. All of his analytical output numbers are going to look better, and he's going to win. He's going to get near Kobe's 5 rings, if not surpass them, with the youth of this team and everything that they have going for them. So these things, Tara, they disgust me. Obviously, I'm sickened by these conversations. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander in the same sentence as Kobe Bryant, ludicrous. But just get ready, Tara, unfortunately, because there's only more to come as this goes on the next 4 to 5 years or so. But thank you, Tara, for coming in and sponsoring us. We next have Gary. Can you help me with this one? Would you say Bobadelli, maybe? Bobadelli perhaps is in?
Bobadelli? Yeah.
And Gary, while you read that, I'm going to look up what this currency is because I'm interested. Okay, this is This is a Hungarian forint, is what we have here. So Bobadelli is in with a Hungarian forint. So we've got someone routinely in here from Malaysia, CP actually from Malaysia. If you're out there in the lounge tonight, CP, welcome in from Malaysia. Now we've got someone in from Hungary. Did I say that? Yes, from Hungary. So welcome in Bobadelli. And Gary, what does Bobadelli have for us tonight?
You think bunch of threes would be the strategy against OKC? You think bunch of threes would be the strategy against OKC?
Well, they shot a bunch of threes. The Minnesota Timberwolves did tonight. 51. That's a Boston Celtician number right there. 51 3-point jacks by the Timberwolves. Unfortunately, they made only 15 of them. Also, a Boston Celtician type number there. 29%. The problem is, this team is so good underneath. as we saw, like Nikola Jokic, look, I mean, say what you will, 28 points, 15 rebounds, and 6 assists on like 48% shooting from the field for him. I guess that's shutting him down, though. But the Thunder basically shut down one of the 10 best players of all time in Nikola Jokic, shut him down to the tune of 28 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists on 48% shooting from the field for a 7-game series. But actually, that is shutting him down. Like 28, 14, and 6 on 48% is kind of shooting Jokic, or is kind of shutting Jokic down. Because typically, if you take him out of the double-digit assist range, he's going to score 40 on you. And he's going to do it in the mid-50s typically on shooting percentage. So that is kind of shutting him down, just because these guys are so stellar underneath defensively. But the problem is they're probably better on the perimeter. So as good as they are underneath, with 2 of the 5 best two of the best front court defenders in Hartenstein and Holmgren, like they've got even more defenders, even more top line defenders on the perimeter. So they're all long and rangy. They're all interchangeable defensively for the most part. Even Chet can get out on the perimeter and switch. So like it's just difficult. Like you can't break them down on the ball. They have basically the 2 best on ball defenders when the opposing guard or whatever, on the opposing ball handler. Last year, at least, Lou Dort and Alex Caruso were the top 2 defenders on that on-ball defense metric. So they have like the 2 best on-ball defenders on the perimeter. You're not breaking them down on the perimeter. You're not going to like space them out or use picks or rolls or screens, because they're all long, athletic, rangy. They can all switch capably. Like there's no way to go about attacking them.
Hey Jay, let me emphasize a point you're making. I just saw a glimpse of Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards at the post-game conference. And Julius Randle, he didn't look angry. He looked calm. You could see it in his eyes. He's deflated. He's disheartened. He feels hopeless after just 1 game in a series. OKC has taken their will. Julius Randle does not believe they can win. He doesn't even believe it.
I can't blame him. Like they're unbeatable. Like that's what I've been saying. Like the only hope you have is like, okay, Nikola Jokic played 3 phenomenal games in the last series. Game 1, game 5, and 6. He was incredible. Like in two of those 3 games, he was over 40 points, over 15 rebounds, and over 5 assists in 2 of those 4 games on over 50% shooting in both of those games. He's the first player since Wilt Chamberlain to produce 2 of those games in 1 series. So he's historic in 2 of those games. In one of them, it was like 29, 16, and 8 assists on like 65% shooting. Like, okay, so you have the best player by far in the world, and one of the best handful of players ever that was just phenomenal in 3 games. Then the Thunder themselves choked away a game or 2 in that series. And the Nuggets pulled some shit out of their ass in a couple other, like Aaron, like the Christian Brown game, the game that Christian Brown and Jamal Murray both went over 20 over 20 points on over 50% shooting for each. Like, so unusual things you need to hope for. Like, you basically need some Nikola Jokic type figure to have 4 God mode games out of 7 against this defense to have any hope. So, like, of course the Timberwolves are hopeless after 1 game. Like, there's no way to attack this team. None. Like, and even when they're struggling, like they were in the first half, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was 2 of 13. They looked like ass, Gary. Like, they had like 36 points, I think, did the Thunder there was 3 minutes to go in the first half. They had 36 points, and Shai was 2 of 13, and they were right in the game because their defense is they're just going to hold it in. And then eventually, like, there's 10 dudes that are deep. 2 or 3 or 4 of them are going to come alive at some point. You can't stop this. You cannot hope to beat this team 4 out of 7. It's just impossible. So good, Bovadelli, there is no way. There is no strategy. But thank you for coming in and sponsoring us. And again, shout out to you in Hungary. I appreciate you being here. We've got a regular here, Xavier Dagod in. Welcome in, Xavier. And I think I like where you're going with this super chat, Gary. What's he got?
Yeah, and just to piggyback what you just said, the only strategy I could see is if a team formed a super team. That's the only way, one that actually worked. Maybe one with Jokic, or maybe if a Jokic type guy went to Minnesota, or Doncic went to Denver or something crazy, and that probably would never happen. But that's about the only way I think somebody could beat OKC. But anyways, to get to Xavier. Kobe is the greatest player with 5 rings ever. Well, him and Duncan, they're like right there with each other.
I mean, look, Xavier, thank you. I make well, first of all, look over my shoulders. Like we know what's going on here with me and Kobe. Like I make no illusions about the way I feel for Kobe Bryant. He is on my Mount Rushmore. He is to me below. He's second to only one person ever, and that would be Michael Jeffrey Jordan. So, in my estimation, he's on my Mount Rushmore with other all-time great two-way players with a bunch of championship rings on their fingers. I'm not really giving you any pushback here. I do though. Duncan is, again, he's in my top 5 all-time as well. I actually have Duncan as my 4th best player ever. So he's right there. He's on my Mount Rushmore as well. So yeah, nothing but the utmost respect for both those players, for the late great Kobe Bryant. He does not get enough respect in my estimation, either on this platform or, in the mainstream media or around other various social media outlets. I think he just does not get the kind of credit that he deserves. Kobe Bryant in his peak he was unstoppable offensively in the slowest pace, lowest scoring era ever. And he had no spacing. He had very bad teams for a lot of his career, or just mediocre teams for most of it. And he found a way to squeeze out 5 championship rings. So nothing but respect for the late great Kobe Bryant. Anyone that knows me knows that, though. So thank you, Xavier, for coming in. Thank you for supporting us here in the lounge. Next, we've got AMD in. Welcome in, Gary. What does AM have for us in the lounge tonight?
Did you catch 6man's video highlighting the unprecedented zone denial defense versus Jokic? People don't want to hear it. Caruso did it alone, or what's STH? LOL. I'm not sure what STH is.
I don't know. Maybe shut the hell up or something. I don't know. I'm not sure. Gary, we're old. We're not up on the texting acronyms here, so I'm not sure exactly.
So if you guys could please spell out the words for us, that would be so we can.
It could be. I don't know. Could have supposed to be STFU or whatever. Something or whatever. I did not catch that. I don't know, AMD, if I have mentioned it before. I actually don't watch I don't watch YouTube very much at all. Practically never. I don't really follow other YouTubers. I guess I maybe have heard of 6man, but I've never seen a single video of theirs. But my curiosity has piqued. I think I will write that down. Sixth man. Let me write that down here. And the zone defense. Yeah, I mean look, I just know what I saw. The Thunder were committing at least 2 to 3 guys every time Jokic was down the court on offense. The only time he got easy stuff is when they beat them down in transition and the Thunder didn't have time to set up. And you know what? Or when other guys kind of had it going at some point, then that kind of gave him a little bit of space. Or when he had it, he was he was not at his best from behind the arc. A lot of that is just because of the advanced minutes, the elevated minutes he had to play, the beating that he took, the amount of attention that was being paid to him, the amount of responsibility that he had then to generate offense for everybody else and play good defense against 2 elite front court players on the other end. So factor all of it together, and he just wasn't quite what he was in the regular season from 3-point line. He shot, I think, 41% during the regular season from 3. He was 31% in this round. He was 45% against the Clippers. So really, he just had it taken out of him. in this series. But the 2 games that he did have it going from the 3-point line, he kind of gave him a little bit of a step. So it drew the guys out, and it kind of alleviated some of the pressure when he wasn't setting up in that elbow area. Like when he was either in the paint or like in the elbow, like the pinch post or whatever extended, it was basically like they couldn't even get the ball into him half the time. Like in the game 7, they were just turning it over like every other time down the floor, just trying to make entry passes because you had Caruso just hanging all over him, and then 2 guys behind Caruso waiting if Jokic did make a catch and back Caruso under. There was just 2 other guys converging. So you had 2 or 3 guys committed on Jokic pretty much the whole series. So you would think that other players would really thrive in that setting. And so they did. You know, some guys had some good games, and the Nuggets found a way through, like I said, 3 phenomenal games by Nikola Jokic. When you factor in all of the things that I just said that he was going up against, 3 of the games, he was extraordinary. He did stuff that nobody else really could do for 3 games. Then there was like a game or 2 here or there for several other players where you're getting wide open plays. Like Jokic is generating everything for you, either directly from passes or just by taking on all of the pressure of those double and triple teams. So like, yeah, kudos. Like some players played big in some moments. And when you add it all up, they got to a 7th game. And that's as good as anybody's going to do probably for the next several years against this team. But I'll have to check that video out, AMD. And thank you for sponsoring us here on the lounge. I do appreciate you. And we've got Fernando back in. Fernando, welcome back in. What does Fernando have this time for us, Gary?
Jason Tatum was never viewed as highly as SGA, even after winning a chip, because we knew how stacked his team was. Why does the media want to crown SGA?
I can't answer that question. I think that's a very good correlation that you just drew. A very, very good analogy between the two, I think, or comparison, if you will. That I see them both in very, very similar lights, quite frankly. Like Tatum is an absolute stud from a statistical standpoint, and they win 60 games, it seems like, all the time. And Jaylen Brown, for whatever reason, like Jaylen Brown is always hyped up and talked about, as well he should be. Jaylen Brown is a phenomenal player, but Jaylen Brown has made 1 All-NBA team. Like I believe he made an All-NBA 3rd team once. Maybe it was 1 second team, but let me just fact check myself here. But I'm certain it's only 1. Yes, he was All-NBA 2nd team in 2022, 2023. That's it. So he's been in the NBA 9 years. He's made only 3 All-Star appearances, and he's made 1 All-NBA selection, a 2nd team selection in 2022, 2023. So like, quite frankly, yeah, Jalen Williams is a pretty good comp, actually, I think, to Brown. And then the remainder of the roster is equally as stacked. I said it. Look, go find the videos, people. I put one out in September. I put another one out in like the first week of the season in October, where I said like the names aren't as like, they're not household names. They're not as well known for this Thunder team as they are for the Celtics. But this team is better than the Celtics. They have better players, better depth, and they're going to show it this year when they easily win the NBA championship. So I don't know. That's a great question, Fernando. I don't know why SGA is viewed as this like world beater now, and this like, you know, MVP, perennial MVP is going to win, like I said, 3 or 4 league MVPs probably, whereas Tatum like never got that kind of respect. I think Tatum might have finished like 4th in MVP once, and other than that, he's been top 6 like for 3 or 4 straight years. But I think his highest finish was 4th. And let me just go ahead and confirm that as well real quick while I'm fact checking things. Yes, I can confirm. The last 3 years, I don't know this year because the voting has not been finalized, but in the last 3 years that we know of, he has 2 6th place finishes and 1 4th place finish. Despite, like the 1 year he had a 4th place finish was 2022, 2023, 30 points per game, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists on 47% shooting. So like, I just don't know why he how is Shea made this jump? Your guess is as good as mine, Fernando. Thank you for the super chat. Unfortunately, I don't have a viable answer for you on that one. Cusmo Jimbo is in now. Cusmo Jimbo, as we know, is a big Knick fan. So I see, I think, just from a cursory glance at this, that he's keeping the hope alive. But what does Cusmo have for us?
Yeah, I'm afraid that Cusmo Jimbo may not like us very much after we address this. OKC, KFC, UFC, I don't give a flip. Knicks in 5 in both the Eastern Conference Finals and the NBA Finals. Let's flip and go. Go, New York. Go, New York. Go.
Cuse Mode, I love you. You know it. You know I do. You're in here all the time, supporting the SKAP Live After Dark Lounge, supporting me, and I love you for it. And I love your confidence, too. I love your confidence, and I love your belief. You're like the anti-me. Like, I was just ready for the Nuggets, my Nuggets, to be swept. Like going in all year, I was waiting for that series and for it to be a 4-0 or a 4-1. So I love your confidence here, and I admire your positivity and optimism. You got no shot. I do think I like the Knicks. I'm rooting for the Knicks. I like them in 7 over the Pacers. I mean, hell, I'll root for them over the Thunder. It ain't going to happen. You got no shot. I think the Knicks will win in 7. I think that's going to be a tight back and forth. I don't see either team getting out to a huge series lead. I think it'll be like 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2. Like, I think it'll be a 1-game spread the whole way until the Knicks win it ultimately in New York in Game 7. And then they got no shot. If they get one game, one pride game, like if they're down 0-3 against the Thunder, and then they get that one in Madison Square Garden, and then go back and get blown out by like 50 in game 5 in Oklahoma City, I would take that. I would be feeling really good about my Knicks if they were managed to get that one pride game, because I just don't see any way anything that comes from the East is going to be remotely competitive against this team. But
do you agree with me now, Scott? Remember what I said? I said the Nuggets and the Thunder were the real finals.
Yes, but Gary, that there's no reason why that is. Like the Nuggets were
they're the 2 best teams. The Nuggets were
but they're not though. That's my point. Like the Nuggets gave them the best. They pushed them the most, but that doesn't mean they're the best team. To me, quite frankly, I can make the Nuggets were. I mean, they're arguably one of the worst. They're like the worst team in the West to me to make the playoffs. Other than they're better than, to me, the Grizzlies.
But you would say that the Nuggets had a better chance against OKC than Indiana or New York, right? So
only because of Nikola Jokic, though. Like it's not.
Yeah, but what? Right, of course. But what I'm getting at is that was the real. Whoever won that was going to win the championship.
Well, yeah,
that's what I meant. That's the real finals of the 2 best teams is what I meant. Everything's downhill from here, competition-wise, is what I'm saying.
Sure.
For the championship. Now, we're going to have a great series with Indy and New York, I believe. But neither one of them have a snowball's chance at winning the championship in the finals, is what I'm getting at. Whereas the Nuggets had a small chance against OKC, a better chance than anyone else. That's what I'm getting at.
I guess that's what it's been proven. That's what's going to be proven out. Just because but I want to make sure, like, we're not giving the Nuggets team any credit at all. Like, I'm not giving them any credit at all as being like a good team. Like, the reason that is because of what an elite floor riser, the greatest of all time, in my opinion, that Nikola Jokic is, that he lifted them to this point where, like, they just had to find a way to win one more game in this series, and they would have won the NBA championship, not because they have a good team, but because Nikola Jokic is that good.
Well, you can say that for anybody. You can say that, well, the Lakers wouldn't have won those minus take away Kobe or take away Shaq in their 3-peat. You can say that about any team if you take their best player away. But the Nuggets do have Jokic, so that counts as the team.
But see, here's the thing, though. I think that the Nuggets are so bad if you remove Jokic. Like, yes, of course, if you take Michael Jordan off the Bulls, they're not winning the championship. Yes, of course, if you take Kobe away, But like, if you take Jokic off the Nuggets, like they're going to win 20 games in the NBA for an 82 game season. So like they're terrible.
Maybe
but
not
like,
even that.
Jokic just neutralized. Like, look, take Jason Tatum off of the Celtics and put Nikola Jokic on it. Like, they would easily win the champion. They would easily beat this Thunder team. Like,
Right.
You know, I mean, so it's, I don't know. Like, take Julius Randle off of, you know what? Take Rudy Gobert off of the Timberwolves and put Jokic on it. Like, they would win right? Like, easily win the championship. So it's like, but if you take, but the pieces Jokic has around him as it is, like, it's just, he can't compete. But he was more competitive, I think, than any team we're going to see the rest of the way, obviously. So, yes, I do agree with you in that sense. We've got, man, some of these ones they're tricky for me to read. So, what will we say?
Save Onyx.
Save Onyx.
Mispronounce it's not a big deal. It's the question, and he knows, he or she, they know who they are. Save Onyx with the 2-piece asks, who's your 5 favorite players currently?
Favorite players? That's a good question. I mean, I could give you who I think the best players are right now. In terms of favorite players, like, I don't really like this era. I don't really like the players that are in it, to be totally transparent. That's why, you know, it's rare that I even developed some kind of a following of Nikola Jokic in the first place. The fact that I respect him as much as I do and like him as much as I do is very, very rare, because I think this era overall is just pitiful. By and large, I don't like many of the players. I don't respect practically any of them. I think I do really respect Shea, and I like Shea. I like his game. I like his demeanor. I would say that I like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, obviously, we know I love Nikola Jokic, so I root for Nikola Jokic. I make no qualms about that. He is a player that I think very highly of. So. He would be on my list too. I like Jalen Brunson. I think he's just like an underdog, an undersized, scrappy player that's kind of like defying the odds, like defying the expectations. I like the way just his mentality is that fits New York. I just think he's a good fit for that team, that franchise. So I like Brunson. I'm trying to think who else would I say was like. What's that?
You love Giannis.
I do really love Giannis. I'd say Giannis and Jokic are my 2 favorite players. If you ask me who my 2 favorites are, it would be Giannis and Jokic. So like definitely those 2. And then I don't know. Other than that, I really like Aaron Gordon too. I guess it's because he's on the team that I root for, and he's on the team, my favorite players team, and Jokic. But I've always been a fan of Aaron Gordon, and he really moved up the charts on my list for favorite players with what he did in Game 7. The fact that he had that grade 2 hamstring strain, which is typically a 3 to 5 or maybe even longer, a 3 to 5 week or maybe longer injury, like a minimum of 3-week absence usually required for that injury that he sustained at the end of Game 6. Less than 48 hours after that, he went and played 24 minutes in Game 7. 8 points, 11 rebounds in 24 minutes, could barely move up and down the court. So absolutely gutted it out. Warrior that he is. So he's on the list too for some of my favorite players today.
De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, I am a fan of De'Aaron Fox. I've been a fan of his since college. Actually, he played for Kentucky in college, right?
Yeah.
And where did who was the first ball that came out? Was it Lonzo Ball? Was that
and De'Aaron Fox pumped him
exactly in the like the Elite 8 or the Final 4, whatever. There was like all this buzz around Lonzo Ball
because of his dad. His dad was the mouthpiece, was the Don King.
Right. Yeah. And Lonzo Ball played for UCLA. And so this is a blue blood matchup, Kentucky versus UCLA. It was like the Elite 8 or the Final 4. And Lonzo Ball is getting all the pub, all the press. He's, speculated to be the first or second overall pick in that draft. I think he was the second overall pick by the Lakers in that draft. And I remember Irvin Magic Johnson was like, center court on the floor watching that game. And he ended up I think he was involved in the picking of Lonzo Ball, but De'Aaron Fox humiliated Lonzo Ball in that game, absolutely destroyed him. And from that moment forth, I've been a big De'Aaron Fox fan, have loved him throughout his NBA time. I think he's one of the clutchest players in the NBA. I think he led the league in clutch time scoring last year. And I have for years been pining over that guy, wanting the Nuggets to find a way to swap Jamal Murray in some capacity for De'Aaron Fox. And obviously, unfortunately, that ain't ever going to happen. Now he's on the Spurs. But so, yeah, De'Aaron Fox is another one that I'm really high on in today's NBA. But thank you very much for the question and the support. We got Dylan Davis back in. Dylan Davis, what do we got this time from Dylan, Gary? And thank you, Dylan, for sponsoring us here in the lounge.
Mod G, I've been a Spurs fan myself since 2001. I defend them fearlessly, but Scott Gary, as a fellow old head, this team is not beatable. Are you talking about OKC? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at it, and I just don't see any way they're going to lose, because the differential is going to be so extreme. Like, the Nuggets played them close in a couple games, and the Nuggets won 3 of the games that were close. The Thunder won 2 of the games that were close, and they pummeled them in the other 2 games. So, like, I just don't know, like, you're going to have to play them close. You can't play them close more than 4 times. Like, you'll be lucky to play them close 4 times. The differential is what it is. They have the number 1 differential in league history by like almost a point. Like, they're the best team ever in the regular season in terms of differential. They housed teams all year long. And now in the playoffs, we'll see what it ends with when the smoke clears and the dust settles. My thoughts are they're going to be the number 1 team in postseason differential too, because they are just going to kill you. They're going to run you off the floor, defend the hell out of you, play 10 dudes that will defend you at every position. Any number of guys, 3 top tier, like top 25 caliber players, then a whole assortment of other role players that are very capable of stepping up and making shots and beating you one night. So, like, they're going to blow you off the court in some games. You've got to hope you can maybe play them close in 4 of the 7 games. Then you have to outperform them in the clutch in all 4 of those 4 games. If you want, it's almost impossible to play at that level with all that they throw at you defensively and be fresh enough at the end of 4 games that you've somehow kept in them to the point where you're in it for the last 2 minutes, and then have the legs and the ability to execute down the stretch. Like, they're almost impossible to beat. I've been saying it all year. And in the last series, these uneducated fools or unintelligent individuals come in here and they're like, oh, SKAP is just a Jokic apologist, blah, blah, blah. I'm not. I'm just saying what I've been saying all year. Like people come in and say, like, oh, SKAP, oh, what happened? Oh, what happened to your Nuggets, SKAP? What happened to Jokic? Like, okay, like, I've never said they stood a chance. Like, they don't. They shouldn't. It's not a fair fight. And quite frankly, it ain't a fair fight for the whole NBA. And like, but that's just the way they build it. You know, the Thunder, kudos, tip of the hat, Sam Presti, GOAT. Like, I'm not saying, look, this team isn't cheating. They're not LeBroning or warrior-ing. I'm trying to make the Golden State Warriors an ing word. Like, they're not going to get, you know, they got Kevin Durant, obviously, after they won 73 games. LeBron just goes and joins a top 5 guy every 5 years. Like, they're not doing that. They just built it the right way, the smart way. Presti is just a mastermind. And it is what it is. Like, just get used to it. Like, this is the Oklahoma City Thunder rule the NBA. I've been saying it for 8 months, and it's just getting more and more true now. So, like, none of this was unforeseeable, or it was not hard for me to predict. But thank you, Dylan, again for coming in. We've got Steph in next.
Wrong. You're being proven wrong here.
Yeah, we've got Stefan next with a bold prediction. This is a very bold prediction.
So just cancel out everything you just said because Steph is informing us Wolves in 5, bold prediction. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that is a very bold prediction, especially in a game where they came off very well rested. Let's just go ahead and I've been toying or teasing it. Let's just go ahead and confirm it though. The Timberwolves ended their series against the Golden State Warriors. The last win for them was on Wednesday, May 14th. So that is a full week. I've been saying they've had about a week or whatever, 6-7 days off.
6 days, right.
So I can confirm now it's 7 days. They had a full week. This is the one you want to get, Steph. This is the one you want to get. You were up 4 in it at half, and then it ended up being a 26-point win for the Thunder. So best of luck. Like, good luck dealing with this team for the rest of the way. But like in sports, look, you're either right or you're wrong. I'll be very right or very wrong. I've been saying it for, like I said, months. We'll see what transpires the rest of this series and the rest of the playoffs. But Steph, as always, many thanks for coming in and supporting us here in the lounge. I'm going to get to all these super chats, but I do have to jump ahead to our very generous benefactor, Ultron or Ultron, who is, again, I don't know if this is a man, a woman, what, but please let me know, Ultron, do you want to just come on and like you could just sponsor like my whole whatever, like everything I'm doing in life. Like please let me know. Come on board the SKAP team SKAP here because you're basically like funding the lounge here.
You want him to be an investor.
Single-handedly. Another massive donation from Ultron here, or Ultron, has basically just been making it rain in the SKAP Live area since coming on board. The first time I remember seeing this again, man, one person here and these generous donations was, I believe it was after the Game 5 loss against the Thunder in the last round, when I looked like I basically was like I was essentially reading "Don't Kill Yourself" books. Like I had a "Don't Kill Myself" book on my lap during that live stream, and Ultron came in here and I don't know, gave us a couple $100 that night, and he's just been doing it ever since. So I do want to just jump ahead, give a shout out to our generous benefactor and sponsor here of the lounge, Ultron. What is the question or comment though, Gary?
Daily reminder that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the most egregious foul baiter since Embiid and James Harden. Absolutely absurd.
Yeah, again, I won't give any pushback on that. We talked about it a bit earlier. I think the guy absolutely positively goes into many offensive possessions like without even thinking like, I think I might be able to score a basket on this play. I think his sole intention is just, I'm going to see if I can just fool the officials into giving me 2 free throws. So, I wouldn't give any pushback on that in the least. Joel Embiid, of course, does similar things. James Harden's probably the most obvious and glaring example of that, especially back when he was, peak James Harden, finishing top 2 in MVP for a couple years in a row, leading the league in scoring I think 2 or 3 years. 2 years. I think he led the league in scoring 2 years, but a lot of that primarily just because of the free throws and the massive. He did, of course, the rip through, the 3-point rip through. I actually do just want to go and look at this. So the free throws per game, James Harden, this is actually pretty shocking, led the NBA in free throw attempts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in an 8-year span. So from his age 23 season to his age 30 season, beginning with his first year in Houston and ending with his last year in Houston. So his entire tenure in Houston, basically, this guy led the league in free throw attempts all but 1 year, which is crazy. And he was legit double-digit attempts every year that year. So like 10.2, 10.2, 10.2, 10.9, 10.1, 11, and 11.8. So like over 10 free throw attempts a game. And this is a guy for his career. He shoots 86% from the free throw line. So we're talking what? Like he's basically making 9 free throws a game. So like 9 free throws made a game. Like, of course, he's going to lead the league in scoring. Let's check out what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did this year, just for some kind of context, just for reference. Shai actually did not lead the league in free throw attempts this year. He attempted 9 per game this year, while he did not lead the league in attempts either this year or last year. He did lead the league in free throws made per game, both this year and last. He scores 8 points per game from the free throw line on average. So there you go. He definitely is a prolific free throw shooter. Just like you, Altron, are a prolific donor and sponsor here in the SKAP Live Lounge area. So again, many thanks to you for your continued sponsorship, your continued generosity here for us. I do, and moderator Gary does as well. Really appreciate that. So, okay, let's jump back. Steph, of course, with that ridiculous bold prediction take. We've got Po-Yo-Yo in next. Po-Yo-Yo, who is another regular here in the lounge. Many thanks to you for being here, and welcome back to you in the lounge as well. What is the question or comment here, Gary?
In my opinion, SGA is the best right now. I'm also mentally challenged.
Yeah. Yes, we here are politically correct, or at least we try to be while on camera, Po-Yo-Yo. So we're going to leave that word out, even though moderator Gary and myself are of a certain age demographic where that word was just commonplace when we were growing up, in the good old days of the 90s, maybe the 80s for Gary. I don't know. Moderator Gary's a little bit older than me, but yes, that word was commonplace for me. But yeah, we'll keep it out of the live lounge, other than me, of course, keeping it up on screen for minutes here. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, to me, it's a toss-up between him and Giannis Antetokounmpo, in my opinion, for the number 2 best player in the NBA right now. To me, it's not even close. It's not even a remote discussion. Nikola Jokic is the best player, and it's not even close. It's just not close. Like, if you just take SGA off of the Thunder and just take Nikola Jokic off of the Nuggets and just replace them with each other, I mean, the Nuggets would lose in the first round with Shai, and I don't know that the Thunder would lose a game with Jokic in the playoffs. They would certainly win the championship. So, I mean, it's just not, to me, a compare. Like, yes, Shai's going to win the MVP this year, and yes, Shai's going to win the championship this year. Again, 2 things I distinctly projected would win. Those things would occur in September, and it doesn't change a thing that Nikola Jokic is by far the best player in the NBA. But everybody's entitled to their opinion, obviously, Po-Yo-Yo. And thank you for sponsoring us here. We've got R. Chesser in next. And R. Chesser, what do we got here from them? Gary, thank you, R. Chesser, for sponsoring us. Thank you for your continued donations. You are a regular sponsor here as well in the lounge. So thanks to you. And Gary, what is the question or comment here?
I called it, SKAP. Thunder in 7 over Denver. Jokic and the team ran out of the gym. I got OKC in 5, 6 tops over Minnesota. Many was ass in the second half.
Yeah, I had the Thunder winning every game in every series in the playoffs by a maximum of 5 games. So like I thought that they would maybe sweep the first round, then win the second 2 rounds in 5, then sweep the East. Unless it was Boston. If it was Boston, I think maybe 6. So ultimately, I had them losing 4 total games in the playoffs and winning the NBA championship. I thought that they would beat Denver in 4 or 5 games. So sure, they ran out of the gym in Game 7. They got it to Game 7. Like, congratulations to Nikola Jokic. Congratulations to David Adelman and to the entire Denver Nuggets team for taking that Thunder team somehow 7 games. It was ridiculous that it went to 7 games. So, yeah, I got OKC in 5 as well now against Minnesota. I said it at the end of the last series, and I've got them in. Sorry, Carlo out there. Close your ears here for a minute. I've got them in 4 over the Knicks in the NBA Finals. We've got Fernando back in now. Fernando, welcome back into the lounge. We've got a repeat donation here tonight from him. So thank you for that. Gary, what is that question or comment?
Last one. Hartenstein is also 50th in VORP. So 3 players top 50 for OKC and has 6 players with a higher BPM than Murray, who is second on Denver.
Correct. This is what I've been talking about all year. Fernando, great comment here. I've made several videos about this, that just what a massive talent discrepancy. And like people will look at those uneducated people that I'm talking about, uneducated or unintelligent, will look at the statistical averages just for the 7-game series between the Thunder and the Nuggets and be like, oh, look at Jamal Murray. Look what he did in that series. Look at, Aaron Gordon, what he did before he got hurt. Yeah, because they're playing, like 4 guys are left to play against 2 defenders. Like, congratulations. I mean, like Nikola Jokic is sucking 2 and 3 defenders every time down the floor. Yeah, I would hope that NBA players could have some kind of viable performance against 2 defenders when you're playing 4-on-2 for the remainder of the 4 guys on the floor. Like, awesome. But yes, when you look at who are these guys, like who are they from a full year standpoint? Like Jamal Murray is legitimately would be like the 6th best player on the Thunder. Like they're just not, there's such a massive talent discrepancy. And I also want to just say, Chet Holmgren, who played in only 32 games this year. He missed 50 games with a broken hip. So he is not a qualified player for any of these advanced metrics. But Chet Holmgren's, if you look at his like net rating, the BPM and VORP are somewhat like seasonal long things that like aren't going to necessarily qualify. But if you look at his like net ratings, like his net rating would you could kind of just see where he would fall in the span. Like, I mean, Chet Holmgren, trust me on this. He's the 2nd rated net defender in the league. If he were qualified, he will be top 50, 60 in BPM, VORP, PER if he plays a full season. So just trust me on that. So yes, so 6, I said 7 because Chet Holmgren has that capacity. He has that capability. He will be that if he doesn't miss 50 games next year. So yeah, just think that over. Read Fernando's comment, guys, for any of you uneducated or unintelligent out there. I'm sure there are some of you in the lounge right now. 6 players with a higher BPM than Denver's 2nd best player. That's why they lost. That's why they got smoked in Game 7. It was an absolute magic trick by Nikola Jokic that it got to Game 7. Next in, we've got Josh Alstrom, who is another regular in the SKAP Live After Dark area. Many thanks for your continued generosity and support of us here as well, Josh. Gary, what's the question from Josh?
Well, there's absolutely no need for this, but his question is, SKAP, do you think Kevin Durant requests a trade to OKC now? No way in hell OKC pulls the trigger on that. They don't need him.
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, I don't think Durant would want to do that. Look, Durant looks like such a scumbag, such a snake, such a weasel for that Golden State pairing that he still takes it on the chin routinely about. This team's going to just run the field right now. And how the hell is Durant going to go back there now? Like after they win the championship, something he could never do there, by the way. He's now going to go back and coattail ride them. No, I don't see that happening. For him, I don't think he would want to do it. And I know damn well that the Oklahoma City Thunder don't want to do it. Like there's no way they want to pull that dynamic into this team after this team is going to easily win an NBA championship. So, Josh, no, I don't see that. I do not see that happening. I don't think Durant really wants to go there, and I don't think that the Thunder. I know the Thunder don't want him. But thank you, Josh, for your kind and generous contribution. Next in, we've got Elijah Kincaid. Elijah, many thanks to you. Welcome to you to the lounge area, and thank you for your sponsorship here. What is the comment or the question here, Gary?
Scott, would you be so kind as to provide us with your top 10 or 15 as well as your criteria? I can tell you your top 5 is Jordan, Kobe, Kareem, Duncan, and Hakeem. That's your top 5. Now it gets tricky 6 through 10 and then 11 through 15. But you've got what? Wilt Chamberlain, Larry Bird, and Magic Johnson over the next 5 somewhere?
Yes, Gary. That I was just going to say, Elijah. I've been teasing this top 10 video. I have like a 30+ minute video of who my top 10 are, which I'll tell you the 343 that are in here in the lounge now. I'll let you know. Spoiler alert, it's only 9 because I think there are only definitively like 9 top 9. And then for me, like there's like a collection of 3 to 7 or 8 guys that you can make a really good case for the 10th spot. So I give my top 9, why, what the criteria is, and then I make a little case or I mention several other players in that video that have, to me, a case to be made for them to be that 10th player. But Gary mentioned, yes, I'm on the record. My top 5 are Jordan, Kobe, Kareem, Hakeem, Duncan, or Duncan then Hakeem if we're going in order. So those are my top 5. And I you know what? I might even change this list, quite frankly, and redo this video before I drop it, because quite frankly, I'm thinking Kareem might be moving down. Like I might have Duncan and Hakeem jumping Kareem. I've been losing sleep over that for months. So I think maybe my criteria might be shifting there on that. But Kareem would still be in the top 5. And then, yes, of course, Magic, Larry Bird, Wilt are all also in my top 10. So that's
Bill Russell.
That's 8 right there. And yes, Bill Russell too. Yeah. So there are the 9 that I talk about and discuss in detail and say why I have those players there in my 30+ minute video. And then I'll mention other players that I think could have an opportunity or have a case to be in that 10th spot. I talk a lot of shit on LeBron James. Everybody knows that I think very, very little of him. He's one of the players that I think he has a case.
Yes, he does.
Like, top, like 4 MVPs, 4 championships, 4 finals MVPs. Whether he deserved all of those things or not, I'll leave that up to your imagination. I think you can make a case against him for some of those awards. But then he's the all-time scoring leader. He'll be top, 2 or 3 in assists. He's played at as much as I despise this guy, the level that he's still playing at 22 in his soon to be 41st season, for age 41 year. I mean, it is crazy. So I think you can make a case for him there. Steph Curry, I'm not a big fan of his either. But again, the guy changed the game, whether for the better or the worse. He has 4 championships. He beat LeBron head to head in 3 of the 4 championships. I think you can make a case for Steph to have that 10th spot. Yes, I think Nikola Jokic, while right now, maybe I can't make a case right now for him at 10. I think by the time he retires, even if he never wins another MVP or another championship, I think I will be able to have a case for him at that 10th spot. I think I would have him at that 10th spot, even if he doesn't get anything else the rest of the way, if he plays at this level for another 4 to 5 years. So those are just a couple of names I throw in there and mention. There's other people I think that I don't mention that you can throw in there, like Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, some older players at that level. I even think, like, when I look back at some players like Dirk Nowitzki, I think, while I don't think he's a top 10, I think he's like maybe an arguable top 15. And, he only has the 1 championship, the 1 MVP. But like, that guy was so great for so long. He played with such subpar supporting cast and such a loaded Western Conference. Like, you have to look at the total context. Championships mean a lot to me. When you look at my top 4 of my top 5, Hakeem only has 2, but everyone else in there has at least 5. So like 5 or 6. But you have to look at the context of how they got the championships. Like, what do the championships mean? What kind of competition did they play? What kind of supporting cast did they have? That's why Hakeem is in my top 5, despite the fact he only has 2. And that's why Nikola Jokic likely at the end of the day is going to be in my top 10, even though he'll only have 1. But great question, Elijah. Keep an eye out for that video. It might be coming out sooner than you think. So I might even do a pre-video to that video, just to make sure everyone's aware that it's coming, because I have been talking about it for so long. But Thank you, Elijah, for the question and for the sponsor.
One thing to add to what you're saying, I think just something to marinate on. I think you should consider possibly moving Wilt further up your list. I honestly think Wilt's probably my number 2 after Jordan. It's just he's the complete package. If you were an owner and you could go in any era and pick any one player, Jordan and Wilt is like one of those guys, one of those two.
It's so hard to conceptualize the 60s for me. I don't want to, it's not like, I don't want to be like, I don't want to take a cheap out here, but like for me, like I really do kind of look at pre and post merger point. The ABA and NBA merged in 1976. And that to me, from that point on to now constitutes the modern era of the NBA. And before that, like the 60s are just so hard for me to conceptualize just because there was anywhere between, I think, 8 to 14 teams in the league at that point. Like Bill Russell, like there were some crazy things that happened, some anomalistic things. Like Bill Russell winning whatever, a 10, like, I don't know. Like how many they won? How many did they win consecutively? 8 straight?
I'm not even sure, but a lot. Yeah.
I want to say it was 8 straight. And obviously overall it was more than that. I just want to see how many straight he had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He won 8 consecutive championships and 11 overall in 13 years. So like that's somewhat anomalistic. Like even look, there were some other crazy things going on statistically in the 60s. Like, I mean, Oscar Robertson averaging the triple-double. Elgin Baylor. Like people talk about Wilt and his crazy statistics, but no one really even thinks about Elgin Baylor. Like listen to some of these years by Elgin Baylor. 1961-62. That was the year Wilt, by the way. 61-62 was the year Wilt averaged 50 and Oscar Robertson averaged a triple-double. In that same year, 38 points and 19 rebounds per game, along with 5 assists for Elgin Baylor. That's 38, 19, and 5. For Elgin Baylor that year. Like some of these numbers are just nuts. Like the year before that, Baylor was 35, 20, and 5. 35 points per game, 20 rebounds, and 5 assists, like per average for like in the 70 game range. So like there was just, it's just so hard to look at it and say like definitively, like to measure that era, that 1960 span against anybody, any other players. But you're right. Like if you're looking, even with that said, Gary, with as anomalistic as things look, Wilt Chamberlain was like even above all of that. That's why like people say like, oh, well, Nikola Jokic wouldn't do this in other eras. Okay, but he's doing it in this one. So like, look at how much better he is than everybody else in this era. Like look at him against the peer group. So if we do that same thing for Wilt, like, look at him against everybody else, even in a crazy era where crazy things were happening. He was so much crazier than all of that. Like there was the first 7 or 8 years of his career, he averaged like, it was like 39 points per game for like a 7 or 8 year span. It was insane what that guy was doing. Like he won, I believe he won the MVP and the scoring title in his rookie season. He was MVP in his rookie season of 1959-60. He won Rookie of the Year, All-NBA First Team, and the MVP. So he was Rookie of the Year and MVP in his first year. He averaged 38 and 27 in his first full season in the NBA. And like I said, if you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the first 7 full years of his career, okay? Let me just get this right. The first 7 years of his career from age 23 to 29, 464 game sample size, 41 points and 25 rebounds per game. 41 and 25 for 7 years straight. So like, yeah, I mean, you can make a case. Quite frankly, if we're just talking individual, Gary, you can make a case he's better. He's the GOAT. Like you can say he's honestly better than even Jordan. If we're just talking sheer ridiculous individual statistics and dominance, like people always say Shaq's the most dominant player ever. Nonsense. Wilt Chamberlain is by far and away, heads and shoulders, above everybody else in terms of like the dominance category. So yeah, absolutely. You're right. Maybe I do have to give more thought to Wilt. So you know what? Maybe I might just be revamping this whole video. So
right. And add and to close this out, one other quick thing that you didn't even mention. What about the quintuple, if I pronounce that right, double? According to this data, it was March 18th, 1968. He had 53 points, 32 rebounds, 24 blocks, 14 assists, and 11 steals in one game.
That's pretty good, Gary. I mean, what can you say about that?
Right.
Pretty ridiculous. So yeah, maybe I have to, maybe I have to revamp some things here.
The only reason I don't have him above Jordan is just because why didn't Wilt get more championships and Jordan got more? He dominated. So that's the only reason I edge Jordan out slightly.
And that is the reason I need to dig more. I need to go more into the context and see exactly what kind of supporting players he was playing with. Look, it's going to look like he played with a couple Hall of Famers at mostly every stop he made because, again, there were only 8 to 14 teams in the NBA at that point. So there was a more tightly compacted grouping of all-time greats. So yes, but when you look at like the Boston Celtics, for instance, that won the 8th straight in Wilt's time, that won 11 of 13, they had, I think, 7 to 8 Hall of Famers on every championship team. So like how many did, I know they played he played Russell multiple times in the finals. So like how many of the times did they lose those? Like what did Wilt do in those series? So that's some more of the context that I have to dig into ultimately, and I will do just that. And I think, look, I've got Hakeem 5. I think I might be moving Hakeem up more because the guy was just so exceptional from a full court standpoint. At the time, I have to go and confirm that this still is the case because he's been retired for, I don't know, like 20 years.
Right.
Let's see exactly when he retired. He retired in 01-02 was his last season. So over 20 years he's been retired now. But at the time he retired, he was the only player in NBA history that was top 15 in 4 statistical categories: points, rebounds, blocks, and steals. So like he was just a crazy full court player. And if he had a better supporting cast, he would have won a lot more than 2 championships. He's like Nikola Jokic to me. So like that's why like I really do want to move him up higher. But great question, Adam. And welcome into Stephanie or Stefani. I'm not sure exactly how I might be.
You skipped one. Go back up to Adam. There we go. That's where we are right now.
I'm sorry, Stefani. We'll be right back, Stephanie. I'm just going to keep saying Stephanie. If you want to correct my pronunciation, by all means do so, as she is a regular here in the lounge.
This is an example of ladies not first.
Right. So we're just going in chronological order here. So Adam Freeman is next. Adam's in. What's the question, Adam? Thank you and welcome in. Gary, what does Adam have for us?
Yeah, Adam's got a good point. OKC is on pace to be the youngest team ever to win a championship since the 76-77 Blazers. If that happens, is this a top 5 team all time?
Well, I mean, yeah, look, I'm not saying, and I get a lot of pushback and blowback or whatever you want to say from this. Like when I talk about, oh, they're the best regular season team ever. They are. I'm not saying that they would beat the 86 Celtics or the 87 Lakers or the 72 or the 95 Bulls with the 72 wins. I'm not saying they would even beat. In fact, I don't think they would beat the 2001 LA Lakers with the team that went 15-1 in the playoffs with Kobe and Shaq and obliterated everybody in their path.
You're going statistically,
but I'm just saying by the raw metrics, like they have the best differential ever. A record that was over 50 years old. It was like 54 years old. And they have the best simple rating system scale rating ever, which that factors in, simple rating system or SRS, factors in, yes, your margin of differential and your strength of schedule. So how good your opponents were And then how badly did you beat them? They're number one in both of those things. So all time in the regular season. So if that team comes into the playoffs now and loses like 4 games and wins a championship and has the league MVP and has last year's coach of the year, like, yeah, they're one of the best teams ever. Like, they just are. So like, I'm not saying they would win a series against any of those teams, any of my teams, the best teams ever, whatever, like the 83 Sixers or any of these teams. Like, I'm not saying they would beat them, any of them, but they are by measurement. They will and should be considered one of the greatest teams ever. And when you look back now, 10 years from now, and they have 5 rings or whatever, hell yes, people are going to be saying they're one of the best teams ever. For sure they will be. Great question, Adam. And now back to Stephanie. Welcome.
And I think what you're saying is, you're not saying they're the greatest team ever. What you're saying is they're having the best statistically season ever. That's what you're pointing out. You're not saying they would beat the Bulls or the Lakers, or probably not even the 73-9 Warriors. But statistically, they're better than those teams strictly on statistics. But as we know, when you go head to head, statistics go out the window. So
exactly.
All right. So Stephanie, is it only me that don't buy this OKC SGA multiple rings MVPs? Look how Boston turned out with all the weird things each year. Anything is possible. But yeah, this is different though. This is different, Stephanie. This is not Boston. This is legit. OKC's legit.
And Stephanie, just so we're clear again, I'm not saying that Shea deserves all of these MVPs he's going to get, because I don't think he should have this one. Like, I think Jokic should easily be the MVP this year. Just the fact, again, they went 7 games against this team. I mean, just to bear this out, in the playoffs to this point, so the Thunder have played, not counting tonight's game, they've played 11 games in this postseason. Okay, I know that the MVP is a regular season award, but this same thing can be extrapolated out into the regular season. So looking at the on-off for the 11 games played in the playoffs this year so far for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's minus 0.5 points. So with Shai on the floor versus off this year in 11 games in the playoffs, he contributes a negative -0.5 point. So like, they're on offense, they're 2 points better without him. And on defense, they're about 3 points worse. So, or I'm sorry, 3 point with him on the court, 103 points per game with him off the court. So they're actually 3 points worse. Okay, yeah. So they're they're actually 3 points worse on defense with him on the court, and they're 2.5 points better with him offensively. So overall, that's a net difference of 0.5. Now, if we look at Nikola Jokic in the playoff games that he played, and that would be, now his season is over, 14 games that they played. The Nikola Jokic on-off in the postseason was 17. So they were 10 points better offensively, and they were actually 7 points better defensively. So whereas Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is adding 0.5 point throughout his playoffs in 11 games, Nikola Jokic added 17 points per 100 possessions. So like, I don't think, and it's the same in the regular season. Now Shai added more in the regular season, but so did Jokic add more in the regular season. So Jokic is just far more valuable than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And I don't think that Shai should win the MVP, but he's going to, and he's going to win like 3 or 4 more, or 2 or 3 more, because they're going to win more games than anybody else because they're that good. And he's going to average 30 points per game. So like, people are just going to say, oh, he led the league in scoring, or he's second in scoring. He averaged 30 per game and they won 68 games, MVP. Like, that's just the way it's going to be. And in terms of the rings, get ready, Stephanie, because it's coming. I'm telling you, this is going to be an avalanche. The Celtics are aging out now. They're capped out now. They choked a couple away that they should have had. And they underperform. This team ain't going to underperform, and they're better. Quite frankly, they're just better than the Boston team. They don't have the household names yet, but they're better. Their defense is much better. They're much deeper. So yeah, look, I've been wrong about some things in the past, but NBA takes is not one of them. I'm pretty early on these things, typically speaking, throughout my lifetime, and I'm just seeing. I saw it in the preseason, and I see it now even clearer than was in the preseason. This team is an unstoppable entity, and they're going to be unbeatable for many years to come. We've got SKAP's Extra Strong Cologne in with a new. Now that is not me. He has had an avatar, a picture of me throughout.
That's disrespectful of him to not include your photo on there. We don't appreciate that.
That is not me. I think. Look. You can see the avatar used. Everybody out there in the lounge, and you can see me right here. I mean, come on. Obviously, that's not me. So I just wanted to point that out. But still, the handle is the same. SKAP's Extra Strong Cologne. Gary, what do we have here?
Okay. As I pointed out momentarily ago, Julius Randle at the post conference, like I said, he just looked defeated. Like he just knew. OKC has taken Minnesota's will. Julius Randle, in his heart of hearts, is saying, we have not a snowball's chance in hell of winning this series. He's done. So he's saying, what did the Timberwolves need to do differently in order to have a shot in this series against the OKC Thunder? Edwards needs to go off. Edwards can go off. It's not going to matter. He can score 75 points and they'll still lose by 10. So if Edwards goes off, it's just they won't lose by 26. They'll only lose by 10. There's nothing they can do. Do you think I was sufficient there?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. What could they do? Get Nikola Jokic in the offseason. That's pretty much it. Like that's pretty much the sole thing that they could do to be competitive with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oh, you mean what can they do right now this year? Nothing. Yeah, they'll need Anthony Edwards. Look, the same arrangement that Nikola Jokic had last series, and Edwards has a better team than Nikola Jokic. So it might not have to be as extreme as the deal that Nikola Jokic had. But yeah, if Edwards has like 4 historic games or whatever, then they can win. But like that's a big ask against this defense, quite frankly.
Slash the tires on OKC's team bus.
It's just hopeless for them. It's hopeless for much of the league, though, unfortunately. It just is, as they say, what it is. Fernando Lopez is back in. Fernando, what is up? And welcome back into the SKAP Lounge. What can we answer for you this time?
Fernando, you are a liar because you said the previous one was the last one. All right. Thank you, Fernando, for coming back. And I think you have a bright future, actually, except for OKC. But he says, SKAP, I'm a Mavs fan. What do you think of our future?
I like it. I mean, I like Cooper Flagg. I think he's going to be a solid NBA player. I think he's going to be like maybe a fringe top 5-ish NBA player within like 3 to 4 years. But that's outside the window of AD and Kyrie, in my opinion. They'll be kind of aging out at that point. So, I think probably you're going to want to look. I don't think you're going to win anything anytime soon. Maybe the Mavs should try to make a trade for Giannis. Maybe flip that first overall pick, bring in Giannis to play with AD and Kyrie, and then maybe they could squeeze one out there before.
Is Kyrie coming back next year?
What's that?
Doesn't Kyrie have a serious injury? Is he coming back next year?
Probably not. He'll probably, I mean, maybe late, maybe it's an ACL. He did it kind of later a stage of the season. So like I would, maybe that's a 6 to 8 month injury. So I don't know. But yeah, I would say that's probably the only hope for the Mavs to like compete for get a real championship. But we'll see. You never know. I do like the pieces they have now. And maybe you just want to keep Cooper Flagg and build upon him, around him for the future. So, but that future likely will begin after AD is beyond his prime, and same with Kyrie Irving. But good question, Fernando, and good luck, obviously, to your Mavs. Next, we've got Juan back. Juan Sanchez is in. Thank you, Juan, for coming into the lounge and sponsoring us. Gary, what does Juan have?
Arvydas Sabonis Sr. could have been top 10 all time.
Yeah, I mean, he was much I want to see exactly how old he was when he came into the NBA. He was old. 31 when he came into the NBA. So yeah, he played really from 86 through 95. He played in the Euro League or something. He was, not in the NBA. So obviously speculative, but Arvydas Sabonis was a great player when he did come into the NBA in his 30s. I obviously will always think of him. Actually, he only played for Portland. I was going to say I think of him as a Trailblazer, but that's the only team he played for. He played 7 years with the Portland Trailblazers. That team was a really good team, obviously, that pushed my Lakers, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, into that 7th game in the 2000 Western Conference Finals. That one where they were down 13 at the end of the third quarter in Game 7 in Staples Center. It didn't look like that dynasty was ever going to get started. And then, Shaq and Kobe mounted that furious rally in the fourth quarter that culminated with Kobe throwing that lob pass, crossing Scottie Pippen out of his shoes and throwing that lob pass to Shaquille O'Neal, who slammed it down, and they ran back down the court together. So, that's the team that I always kind of think of with Arvydas Sabonis. Definitely an all-time great player. Juan, thank you for the comment and for sponsoring us here on the lounge. Next, we've got Carlo back in. Carlo is shooting his shot again. Carlo is a regular here in the lounge, and and Carlo was inquiring about Stephanie's about her availability in a previous lounge session. So Gary, what does Carlo have for us?
Yeah, I'm going to call Carlo Michael Porter Jr. because I think he's shooting a lot of bricks here. But Stephanie, you may not come first. SKAP. So I'm not sure what that stands for. Okay. But with me, you'll always be. So don't forget to holler. Okay. SKAP, I missed the game. Post-game analysis, please.
Carlo, the post-game analysis is the Oklahoma City Thunder are really good. They're significantly better than any other team in the NBA. They will be for several years to come. It's bleak for the rest of the league. They have the deepest team maybe I've ever seen, the best defense I've seen in this century. They've got all of those guys under contract at least through next year. Some of them are on the cheap, but they're all definitely extendable. They have the possession of at least 15 first-round picks over the next 6 years. And look, the Timberwolves had 7 days off. The Thunder had 1. It didn't matter. The Timberwolves obviously came out. They looked good in the first half. They were up 4 at halftime, and then it was a complete massacre in the second half. The Oklahoma City Thunder end up winning 114-88. Shea wasn't particularly good in the game. He does score 31 points on 10 of 27, though, shooting from the field, 0 of 4 from the three-point line. It was a total team effort, a total defensive lockdown of the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I just don't see any way for them to get back in the series. I know it's only one game, blah, blah, blah. This is going to be a short series. I've been saying it. They'll win. I picked them in 5 before the series began. I think the Timberwolves will get 1 back in Minnesota, but that's going to be about it in my estimation. Carlo, good luck with Stephanie. We'll keep an eye on that and see if she's interested. Stephanie, get back at us if you're interested in this in any way. Next, we've got Coda 1223 in. Coda, welcome in. Thanks for being here, and thanks for sponsoring us. Gary, what does Coda have?
Yeah. What do the Timberwolves need to do better to win? I already said it. They need to slash the tires of OKC's team bus and hope OKC doesn't arrive at the arena and they win by forfeit. That's the only chance.
Yeah, I think, like I said, get Nikola Jokic in the offseason somehow. Trade in Rudy Gobert for Nikola Jokic.
If Calvin Booth was still there, that might happen.
And try to make that happen. If that can happen, or if, I don't know, some way Minnesota can get Giannis. I mean, Giannis could be an equalizer to some degree for some of these already good teams, like the Spurs, the Rockets, the Timberwolves, the Nuggets. If you just drop Giannis Antetokounmpo onto a number of teams, maybe they can compete. I still don't know if they could beat them, but I think that they could definitely compete and might even be viewed as a favor in some instances, depending on where he would go. But that's pretty much the only equalizer. If you're talking about what can the Timberwolves do better in this series, really nothing. I mean, they jacked 51 shots tonight from the 3-point line. They made only 15. So look, if they shoot 53s a game and can make like 22 or 23 one game, like maybe they can win that game. If Anthony Edwards ever actually wants to be the best player in the NBA or be the alleged face of the NBA, and he wants to have like some insane games in this series, like 35, 10, and 7 on like 60-70% true shooting percentage, like maybe they can win some of those games. But in lieu of anything like that, I mean, they can't really do anything. They're just going to lose in 5, in my opinion. Like it's just hopeless. And the Thunder the Timberwolves are a really good team, but they just don't have enough to compete with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Next, we've got Xavier DeGodin. Gary, Xavier, regular, of course, to the lounge. Thank you, Xavier, and welcome in. What does Xavier have for us?
Xavier's got something that I already said. He's prophesying here. Will LeBron and Bronny retire the same year?
Yeah, I think we can potentially see that. Now, when LeBron will actually retire, we do not know. Certainly not this year, maybe at the end of next year. Who knows? I think it depends on how good the Lakers look. If Luka resigns there, what pieces they can put around Luka and LeBron. I think that will factor in. But yeah, I mean, Bronny is essentially only hanging on by a very thin thread in the NBA. He showed some flashes though in the G League, credit to him, but I think he's not a viable NBA player right now. I mean, maybe he becomes that someday. If he doesn't though, once his meal ticket, LeBron does ultimately retire, and he is going to be 41 in December. So he doesn't have that much longer, maybe 2 years. So, Bronny will probably also be taking his next step, moving on to the next phase of his life away from basketball too, probably shortly thereafter. But luckily for Bronny, he's going to be okay. He's got plenty of money squirreled away in the old trust fund. And, he made some of his own coin as well, not only with this Lakers contract, but also with the NIL deals that he was making in the 1 year he played with USC. So don't feel too badly for Bronny. He'll be just fine financially moving forward for the rest of his life.
Hey,
but
Scott, I've got one scenario. This is going to sound insane. One potential strategy. We're just brainstorming ideas here. What if LeBron went back to Cleveland, but because he's older, see, this is what he should be doing anyways. He should be lightly playing in the first half and then just go balls to the wall in the fourth quarter. And that's where play 25 minutes a game, play the whole fourth quarter instead of playing the first 3 quarters and then running out of gas. What if, because we've seen how good Cleveland can be, if Cleveland Cavaliers were healthy, because we saw how close they played OKC in the regular season, if they could just keep it close at halftime and then unleash LeBron for the fourth quarter, because LeBron could probably still be great for another couple years for a quarter and a half. And that's what I thought. Why isn't LeBron pacing himself better? Because he's running out of gas in the fourth quarter. Because the Cavaliers are all young, just like OKC. So if they were young and of course healthy, because the wheels fell off the bus with their injuries, but if they were healthy and they unleashed LeBron in the second half, could they possibly compete with they have a better shot than just about anybody else. It probably still wouldn't be enough, but it's just me brainstorming hypotheticals.
Yeah, I still don't think so, but I mean, it's a good try. I mean, maybe if again, Giannis would go to Cleveland maybe, and they keep.
Oh, right. Well,
maybe that's another situation, but yeah, I mean, that's fair. That's like I said, if you just drop Giannis in any number of contenders lineup, then okay. I think it would have been interesting had Boston not choked totally and shat themselves against the Knicks. If Boston had gotten in there, I thought the Thunder would have beaten them in 5 or 6, but it would have just been interesting to see a team that can almost equal them in talent, but not depth and not defense, I don't think. But it still would have been interesting to see what Boston could have done. But we're not going to get that chance, at least probably not ever, because Tatum is done through all of next season. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where we go from here. Gary, we will be on throughout the remainder of these playoffs. Tomorrow night is the Eastern Conference game, Knicks and Pacers. I think that's an 8 o'clock tip-off. So we'll be back in the lounge in the SKAP Live After Dark, talking about that game as well tomorrow night. Gary, we are over 2 hours here in the lounge at this point. It is 1 a.m., just over 1 a.m. on the East Coast. I think now is probably as good of a time as any to wrap it up, since we have made our way through all of the super chats tonight. Again, if you, for whatever reason, just joined us late, the Oklahoma City Thunder off to a dominant and unsurprising start. 114-88 final score for them. Just absolutely dusted Minnesota off the court in the second half. I think that's going to be a short series. The series tomorrow, though, is going to be a good series. I think it's going to be a tight, competitive 7-gamer. So hopefully we squeeze some good basketball, at least out of one of these 2 series. And like I said, myself and moderator Gary will be here to talk about it all over the next couple weeks. And we'll be here through the NBA Finals as well. So make sure you subscribe. Click that notification bell or button or whatever icon to stay up to date, because you never know when I might slide on here live or when I might drop a video. So make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with more from me. And I will catch you guys next time. Have a good night. And moderator Gary, you have a good night as well. We'll see you guys tomorrow.